Hello, my little goblins. We're back at it again, and this time we're playing Hero, so get your game on. That wasn't cringe. Don't worry about it. But seriously, I think this deck is really solid in today's meta. I think it's not... I don't think it's broken or anything, but I think it's, like, pretty good. It's well-positioned. Why is it well-positioned? I think Dark Law is really nuts. I think this deck OTK is super easy. Super Poly is really good, and this deck plays Super Poly really well, and you get to play with Garura. And finally, I think Wake Up Your Elemental Hero is a nice addition to the OTK plan. We do want to go first if we can, like if we win coin flips, but if we lose coin flips, it's not the end of the world. And if you're unlucky like me, playing a deck that can play on kind of both spectrums is very valuable. So ideally with this deck, you would probably want to, if you're going first, end on like Absolute Zero with like a Dark Law, or Absolute Zero, DPE, Dark Law, and then maybe like Plasma thrown in there somewhere, or Plasma somewhere in there without the Dark Law, or something like that. So you kind of have to do with what you get, because you're going to be playing against 600 hand traps. All these games are going to take place in Masters, so a lot of tryhards to expect, but I think the deck's pretty sweet, and it's ridiculously expensive. So to play this deck, you have to be in like the top 1% of the United States. No, I'm just kidding, but the deck is really expensive. Like I counted it earlier. There's 17 ultra rares that's specific to the heroes, so you can't play them in any other deck, which is insanely absurd. That's one of my biggest issues with the deck, but I wanted to do this. It was a long time coming, so I haven't done a hero profile in a long time, so let's get to it. But first, I'm going to show you the combo guide for going first, because I think that's important, because a lot of the games that you're going to see coming up afterwards, I lose every coin flip, so I don't really get to go first, or my opponent max sees me and I don't want to play into max C, so can't really make the board I want to make. But I still want to make sure you guys know how to do the combo. So here we go. Hello, my goblins. We're here with the combo guide, and let's start things off with reinforcement of the army. We're going to use this so we can grab our Stratos, and then we're going to use a Hero Lives to special summon our Shadow Mist. Shadow Mist is going to... Now, if you were going to play without Shadow Mist, like without the Hero Lives, you would just pretty much do everything. Like, I'll show you guys how to do it. You just use Stratos. You would grab here. In this case, we're going to grab Malicious. Right? And then from that, we can use Ferris to discard Malicious to the graveyard. Pretty much everything. Just imagine this is not on the field. You would do this, and then when you do increase, you tribute Ferris. And then increases effect would happen, and that would let you summon Vion. And then with Vion, you would use Vion's effect to send... Shadow Mist to the graveyard, but since we already sent a card to the graveyard like that, we can't... You can only activate one of her effects per turn. We're just going to send Denier to the graveyard instead, right? Now from here, we can go into Cross Crusader. Let's do that. We're going to use this, and we're going to use this. You never want to use Stratos, because you do need Stratos. So... And we're going to bring back one of these. It doesn't matter which one you bring back. Now you can use the tribute. Boom. And here you can search Plasma. In our case, though, since we already have Plasma in hand, we're just going to grab Liquid Soldier. And then you're going to use Vion to banish the Shadow Mist. And we got a beautiful polymerization right there. And yeah, things are about to get a little spicy. So first things first, we're going to activate Malicious, which lets you summon. Boom. And we're going to go into this card right here. So Wonder Driver. Now we get to use this beautiful polymerization. We're gonna fuse into Sunrise. So boom, boom. This is the reason why you want at least one, like, to keep Stratos, just in case you're not able to get Liquid. And now we activate this Chain Link 2. And then finally, Chain Link 3, we do this. If your opponent has Ash, you're going to use it way ahead of this. So, like, don't worry about the whole Ash thing. So we grab Miracle Fusion. Draw 2. And we can discard 1. I guess we just discard Stratos. And that sets that. Alright, so now we can start doing some crazier stuff. So let's activate Denier. Denier's effect activates, which lets him set this card back. You've probably seen this hero play all the time. It's a very common one, I would say. Right? And now from here, we can actually go into Plasma, but I think we're going to use Miracle Fusion first. So activate Miracle Fusion. We're going to go into Absolute Zero. We're going to use this, and let's just use one of our Stratoses. I think it's too relevant which one you use. And then from here, we can use Polymerization. You're going to go into DPE. You're going to use Sunrise, and you're going to use... doesn't really matter which one you use here. There's the DPE. Now, from here, it's a kind of your choice, but I do think you go into... So this is pretty much the end board you want to end on. Like, this is probably your most ideal end board. We're going to have a Droplet, we're going to have Mask Change, and we have Destroy a Phoenix with Absolute Zero. So this is pretty much a one-sided Regeki, pretty much. I was going to say one-sided Regeki. Regeki is one-sided. So this is a Regeki, plus this can pop like back row, mess with your opponent's summoning, so very good card. Could also just pop itself, because we have Droplet. So you just use this as an interruption. You could use it to pop itself and then pop one of your opponent's cards, and then we could Droplet, send Absolute to the graveyard to wipe his board. And then if your opponent has, let's say he starts to turn off with like Imperm or Droplet himself to get rid of, let's say, Plasma. After the Droplet is over, you can use Mask Change to make your Plasma go into Dark Law. So that's pretty much your opening field, and it's going to be very, very difficult for your opponent to out that. So GG. I mean, Plasma by itself will win you a lot of games if you play it. So it is what it is. I mean, it's a one-sided skill drain. It seems pretty good. Pretty good to me. The main thing you have to do is protect it, though, because it's only 1900 attack. So if you absorb something with the Plasma, it becomes like, it's pretty much game. Like, it's going to be very hard for them to deal with it. So let's get into some games so you can see the deck in practice. Hello, we're here with game number 1 to Road to the Top, and we're starting off pretty decently. Never mind, our opponent max sees us, makes me cringe, makes me want to cry. Here comes our Royal Rare Stratos, which lets you search 2 cards instead of 1. Just kidding, but then he's gonna Ash the Vion. I was actually kind of happy he ashed Vion, to be honest, because I'm like, it does give me a search, but like, at the end of the day, I mean, I'd rather him ash that than him ash my Maxi, so he's playing Tier Elements, cringe, and Soliak, cards going to 1, but he gets to take advantage of it being at 3. I mean, they usually just play 2, but it's still annoying. He's going to mill 13. So I know you guys might be thinking there's zero way in hell you ever win a game where you get your opponent mills 13 against you. And you could possibly be right on that. So I get to search for Stratos. He searches for Crime. So now my whole game plan is to try and bait out Crime and not die this turn. So you know what's awesome is Super Poly. I can use Super Poly to to make Vion goes with defense. Pretty much get rid of Vion in offense. So here comes 0. So this card prevents my opponent from trying to OTK me. Vision comes out. Now this is something I would say is a misplay on my end. But at the same time, it really wasn't that bad because, like, I could have technically used Vision Increase at the main phase 2 to tribute this. It pops his whole field, right? And then what do you call it? I play the increase, and then the increase gets Vion. But then I have to, like, pop his cards twice, right? Like, if this card is special summon, if this card is, yeah, so this card doesn't even have to be like fusion summon, so yeah. I guess this card Ricelios wouldn't have that effect, but either way I would have to try and fight through this twice. I'd rather just deal with it once, so that's kind of where we're at. Our opponent also used Medora on my Destiny Hero cards, which was hilarious because I needed him to do that for Fusion Destiny. So now we're just gonna do it on my turn. I have no good cards to send with Vion anyway. Like, it really doesn't matter if this resolved or not. So, all right. I was actually really hoping that he would have used this, but I think he knows that I was going to blow up the field anyway, so... Pop goes the Weasel. Kick Kalios, and I can actually Ash a Kaleidoheart, which I did not know you could do. Mainly because my Ash is usually used immediately on, like, Renoheart, so you never really get the opportunity to. But I guess it's because when it does get onto the field, it sends to the graveyard from his deck. But Road to the Top is tilting me, so... He already used Ricelios' negate effect, so that's fine. He still has Crime, so I need to try and bait out Crime. If Crime gets baited, then I can win this game. That's the only way I'm going to win this game. So I need Fusion Destiny to work, pretty much. If I get Fusion Destiny to work, I win the game. So I thought Stratos would actually make him use it, but I guess not. And then I was like, you know what, Ferris might make him use it. He ends up using it, so I'm like, okay. Thank you, Bucko. I end up Miracle Fusion here, which is pretty funny. He uses Kaldo because he's like terrified right now, which is like hilarious to me. Boom. He didn't banish the card, like send back the Liquid Hero, which is way better. So this card makes all his cards go half attack, half defense. Fusion Destiny. And this is going to be GG. Look at the attack. His whole board had like 500 attack. But pretty much how we were going to OTK him was I was just going to bring back my Denier and bring back Malicious multiple times. Or just bring them both back and then just use Polymerization, go into Trinity. With Honest Neos, he would die. He would take like almost like 20k damage or something like that. He would take a lot of damage. Not 20k. He'd probably take 13, 14. But it was GG. Road to the top, more like road to the bottom. Alrighty, we're here with game number 2, and our opening hand is horrific. So if you guys don't know, opening increase is an absolute brick in the hand. Like it's like one of the worst cards you can pull. He's gonna interrupt my Vion. Okay. I mean, it is what it is. We go into Anaconda. Anaconda, we're playing this game from a year ago where people will just go DPE pass. We're actually traveling back in time. And we really do travel back in time because we're playing in Sword Soul. So he popped up a shoot immediately so he doesn't go into an effect monster. He called by the graves my DPE. It really is literally back blast from the past. It's so funny, dude. And then he moyes. So, you want to know something about funny about Garura? It works on moye, so... Thank you. Thank you. Your turn's ended. I have 3k damage here, 500 damage here. I can activate both these cards, plus I still have the activation of Ferte. He's 100% going to get OTK'd. Zero shot he lives. And he knows this, so he activates Maxi. And I'm just going to Ash, and that's going to make him concede the match. Crybaby. Hello, it's game number 3, and our hand is not the greatest for going second, but it's not like the past hand. Like last hand, really, when you open up vision increase, it's like one of the worst things you can do. So the opponent went Sunvine Sowing. He activated it. I mean, that's one of their better cards they can activate. Never mind, they're playing Rika. I swear I thought they were just playing Sun Avalon, but he hits off the Dancipine. Lets him go into Petal, which is a negate. Is this kind of negate? Maybe I might be confused. It's Princess. Princess is a negate. So pretty much the plan here is the OTK, right? So there's easily we can OTK with Fusion Destiny, with Hero Lives, right? We can Hero Lives, Stratos grabs, like we can OTK him easily if we're allowed to do what we need to do, right? So the problem is we have to fight through this Field Spell. Field Spell is a pain in the ass for this deck to deal with, but like I said, if my opponent, this is a wacky play, by the way. I don't know why you didn't go into level 8. So we go into Stratos. He's gonna negate it, which is cringe. And then he brings back my Stratos, and then I maxi him because I'm trying to kill him this turn. And he plays Stratos in attack, which is probably the biggest mistake of his life. I'm gonna Fusion Destiny this slut. I'm gonna have to teach him why they call me the biggest slut in the world. Here comes Dangerous. Dangerous is gonna send some cards to the graveyard. Boom, we get Stratos. Stratos activates because Stratos is not once per turn. And our opponent is actually like, boned. So you guys know how the OTK is gonna go. Like Vision OTK is like pretty easily to do, the Trinity. Here comes Cross Crusader. We bring back Big Boy. Add Honest Neos. So Honest Neos honestly is like the Honest Neos honestly is so crazy for OTKing with Trinity. Because he goes to 5k and then Honest Neos brings him to 75. So like almost any two monsters will just let you OTK. Even if it was like the only way you wouldn't OTK if it was like 2 Cyber and Dragons or something with like 4k attack. But GG. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Hello, this is game number 4, and again our opening hand is pretty ass, but it's not the worst in the world considering we opened Droplet. Our opponent plays Albazoa, so I actually misplay here pretty bigly. If someone ever Albazoas you, just the thing is they have cards that like they can snipe in your extra deck too. But I should have just sent like my other like hero cards, because Elemental Hero with a Miracle Fusion, I would be able to just make him massive and he would be able to attack like fucking 20 times. So I'm kind of disappointed I did not do that. So I can play Hero Lives. Here comes Stratos. We get Impermed. Oops, bitch, so you thought. Redroplet. You know, stop it. My hand is so bad that I kind of need to do this, right? Here's Ferris. Miracle Fusion. Here comes Sunrise. Again, Sunrise is not the greatest here, but it's not the worst either. Alright, we're going to go into our DPE. He's going to activate this. This is like ridiculous to me. Like really, really silly. And then he plays Punishment. So this is like hilarious. So if you guys don't know how Punishment works, they need to send an attack that's higher or equal to. And guess what? If I make this card have like over 5k attack, like there's probably nothing in his deck that has that high attack. Because 5-Head Dragon still wouldn't work with it. So now DP's effect activates. I activate Ferris, discard Plasma, and I'm still going to be able to combo off. He should be super, super dead. He quits. Boop, boop. Easy, easy peasy. Hello, we're here with game number 5 against Zoom, and our hand looking a little scrumptious. Is it actually going to resolve? Never mind, I get shifted, so that's pretty sad. We just pass. We have nothing else to do. He plays D-Fissure. And then he plays Pod Duality. He's playing that cringe deck. Don't worry. He ruined my life, so I'm going to ruin his life with the Sash Blossom. And he passes over to me. Well, I'm going to go into Verte Anaconda. Mainly because I need to get rid of this fucking D-Fissure pop. I missed out 500 damage doing this, but is what it is. Opponent plays Pot of Extravagance, Pod Duality. He ends up finding Regeki, of all things. He ends up playing Regeki, which I thought was really bizarre, grabbing that over the Advent. But he really didn't like it, and he wanted to get rid of it with Strix. So he thought that was a good play. He's like, yeah, this is a really good play, trust me. Trust me. Super cope. I'm going to tell you this right now. He messes up so bad. So he grabs M-Pen, but then he goes into Apex Avion, and I don't know if you guys know this, but I just top decked the answer to life. But not to how you think. So I have to use this, send that to the graveyard, and we go into Great Tornado. If you're wondering why I got rid of that, it's because he has Macrocosmos, so what was the point? I top deck, I go into Ferris. Ferris is gonna grab Increase. Increase is... This is a game that he should never lose in a million years at this point. I got literally like D-shifted like pretty much like 30 times this game, and he lost still, so bye bye. If he just went into M-Pen, there's zero chance I beat him, so that's gonna be a GG. Hello my little goblins, we're here with game number 6 in the final game, and our opponent is gonna be playing Sprite, and I'm like, oh, Max C, oh nope, never mind, cross out, cringe. He's just gonna set up probably the strongest straight board you can set up, so let's have fun with that. I also want to ask you guys if what type of content do you guys would like to watch other than me making deck profiles? Like, do you want me to do like reactions to things, like reaction to things in Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that? Maybe Yu-Gi-Oh videos. I don't know. I'm just trying to think, trying to think of like ways I can expand the channel without like swapping off of the topic of Yu-Gi-Oh. So we open up Super Poly, we grab a second Super Poly, which is going to be useless. We go into Garuru. I mean, this is going to be a tough match regardless. I mean, he's got like a lot in Avermax. This is going to be a very tough card to deal with. We're going to activate Fusion Destiny. Activate Call By. And there's the IP. Yeah, I was actually like really hoping he would not IP, so my DPE can just pop his IP before he could get it going. But he's not dumb, so. And And he has Fusion Destiny. Boom. Okay, pop, pop. You know what? One thing I'm confused on, or like curious about, is like he did not like I summoned the DPE, but like he didn't. He could have gone into Penny. Like I don't understand why he didn't go into Penny. Like Penny into Herald or something. That was a little strange. And then he goes into Caddy, and then maybe it's because if he did that, he would have no follow up, but he had no follow up anyway. So I guess it doesn't matter. The reason why I waited is because I didn't think he had another Sprite in hand. Also, like, the fact he played Jet underneath Call by the Grave I thought was funny. So this is, like, kind of big brain. But I'm going to... I use Dark Angel's effect to make each player choose a normal spell, put it on top of the deck. This actually bricks him. So since he had nothing to do last turn... This bricks him again, so triple tactic talents he's going to draw, which is absolutely useless against me. And I'm going to draw a Hero Lives. Not 100% sure why I didn't just draw a Reinforcement of the Army. That would have been way better. I don't know why I specifically choose a Hero Lives. But DP comes back for his turn. He's going to go into combat. Kills my card. Whoops, who cares? As long as he's not call buying it, I don't really care. So, here comes my DPE. Gonna have to pop it for me to use Hero Lives again. I should have just grabbed Reinforcement. It would have had the same effect here. And my opponent concedes, and I'm pretty sure they concede because they know I'm gonna OTK them regardless. And I'm definitely going to deal with his Mech Knight. We have Super Poly. All we have to do is go into a Light Monster, and then we can fuse off his card for Mud Dragon. So it was going to be a good one for me. So let us get to the recap, and we can talk about the deck. Hello, and welcome to the recap. Thanks for watching this far. If you guys enjoyed this type of video, please let me know down in the comments what type of videos you like seeing, and if there's a deck that you might want to see me play next. Also, join our Discord. The link is down below. And subscribe to the channel. The channel's sick. Just do it. It's pretty sweet. And in the Discord, that's where we post most of our tournament stuff. So, yeah. That's where you'll find it. So how did the deck perform? The deck performed pretty well. I'm gonna say personally pretty well. Like, did we rank up? No, I'm still at Master 5, but I think majority of the reason why we didn't rank up is my own fault. I think this deck you need to play quite a bit. Well, part of it's my fault, so we'll talk about weaknesses. I think you need to play this deck quite a bit, so for you to understand the lines, for you to understand what you're supposed to be doing at all times during the game, I think it's extremely important. The second part to this, though, is I really do believe that if you're playing against like a bunch of, like, there was a point where I had like a 5-game losing spree because I kept playing against I was going second and my opponent just opened like Exo Sisters with Dimension Fissure or Shifter or something like that, and it's like, well, you're probably gonna lose that. You can OTK super easy, but like you need cards to OTK with, and if all your cards get banished or your opponent's just banishing like 4 times in your turn, you're just gonna lose. Again, Floateries, if they set up D-Fissure and then they set up their like M-Pin combo, probably gonna lose unless you open like Super Poly, and then maybe you can try to come back from that. But yeah, it's gonna be a rough time against those types of decks. Every other deck, though, I felt like pretty strong and pretty good, like matchup wise. And one of the strong points I think of this deck is the deck has a lot of toolbox options. Like we have like pops with Absolute Zero, we have pops with DPE, we have Dark Law to stop with banishes, we have Trinity to OTK super easily, Tornado helps with OTKing super easy as well. There's a lot of good options in this deck, and I think that's part of the charm. And again, the deck's obviously super nostalgic, but like I said, the deck is super expensive. So like if unless money's no object for you, this deck is like not worth the craft. I hate saying that because the deck is really fun, and I do enjoy playing, and this is a game, so fun should be #1 priority. but you have to be realistic. Like, crafting this deck will pretty much just, if you're a free-to-play player, that's like all your gems for like the next like 3 months. You know what I mean? Which there might be another deck that ends up coming out, so, but maybe that's worth it. Maybe that's worth it to you. Maybe you're gonna get like, maybe you're gonna play this deck for like 6 months in a row, and this is like, you're obsessed with this deck. You're gonna start taking this deck to TCG tourneys and shit. So I think, like I said, I think the deck is good though. Like, if I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say this deck's like a solid like 7.5 to 8. I think it's probably like solid 8. I think the deck's a solid 8. Another issue the deck has is like the DPE, like, and just Malicious Bane in general. Like the Bestials, they kind of fucking obviously fuck you up a bit. Like, you're getting your shit Bestialed all the time. The good thing is, if your opponent's going first and you end up going second, I mean, this deck OTK is like super easy. Like, probably the easiest OTK deck I've played, because you just go into Trinity. Trinity has 5k attack. If he just has like 2-3 monsters in attack, you probably just kill them. Especially with Honest Neos, because it goes up to 7,500 attack, so it's like crazy. But remember, Trinity can only attack monsters, so it's very important to know. Your opponent does have to have monsters for you to do that. But yeah, I really did enjoy playing this deck. On a tier scaling, I'm probably gonna say this deck, it's so hard for me to rate it, but I would probably say this deck is probably like tier 3. Like, it's either tier 3 or Rogue. It's very close to tier 3 though, and the only reason it's tier 3 though is because I think Plasma, like AoE negate, like the one-sided skill drain's really fucking insane. And also Darklaw is really broken in this meta. It's pretty much a one-sided macrocosmos, and if your opponent cannot mask hero Darklaw, they probably lose. Like, if you're playing against, let's think about this for a second. If you're playing against Dragon Link and you Darklaw them, if they don't have an answer to this, they just lose. They have to scoop. And like, same thing with Tier Limit. So there's Tier Limit, there's Dragon Link, and there's I'm not gonna say Sprite can definitely out this, but Sprite would have a very tough time still dealing with it. But the Sprite can out this. But we have like, some of those are the top decks in the format right now. The main decks that don't get bothered by this would be like Floateries and stuff like that, like stun decks. They don't care about this effect. But most of these other decks, they really do care about this effect. So like, that's the only reason why I would say this deck is like pushing tier 3, because how crazy good Darklaw is. Yeah, I think the deck is good though. Like I said, you can hit Master 1 with this. I guarantee you can hit Master 1 with this. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see me play next, and goodbye.